Washington. I'm the president and founder of the Orlando Chess Club, and this is our series called Supporting Our Schools. Now, a little bit about the Orlando Chess Club. Our goal of the Orlando Chess Club is to change lives through the promotion, teaching, and competition of chess. More specifically, in regards to our young people and our schools, we are looking to build well-rounded young women and men, and we truly see chess as a mental martial art. So the same lessons that children learn from martial arts: discipline, respect for authority, vigilance, just hard work, bravery, sportsmanship, humility, all of those things, we believe the same lessons are learned through chess. Because it is combat, but it's mental combat. And there's ways that we know that have worked for us that help people win tournament games that last 5, 6, 7 hours. And there are proven methods for getting better at this game. And those same methods that help you get better at chess are the same methods that help one succeed in life. So that's really our goal, is to change lives through chess and to build well-rounded young women and men through our efforts of teaching chess. So throughout supporting our schools, we provide free content for chess clubs in Central Florida, and specifically with Orange County, because we've been in contact with Orange County, but we want to make this content available to all chess clubs at schools in Central Florida. I wanted to give a couple specific shout outs for teachers and administrators that have requested specific content for their chess clubs. The first shout out goes to Javier Ortega, who works with physical education at Ventura Elementary School. Next, I want to give a shout out to Gregory Ullman, who's a teacher at John Young Elementary School. And also, I want to give a shout out to Nancy Charles, who's the assistant principal at Lake Silver Elementary. I really appreciate you all being invested in the growth of your children and their chess progress. A lot of people don't know that the national tournament, K through 12, most years is held right in our backyard in Disney World. And I truly believe if we come together, we can have many national champions for years to come. It's in our backyard, and we have chess in so many schools that if we train the kids properly, which Orlando Chess Club believes we can have national champions in our own city, and I'm very excited about it. So let's get to today's lesson, which we're going to be learning about a king and queen versus a king, which is the fundamental checkmate that all chess players must know. Now, a little backstory as to the current events that are going on in chess and why this endgame is so important. Now, the World Chess Championship is happening currently, right now. As I'm speaking, Fabiano Caruana of the United States is playing against Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen is the current world champion. They're in game 3 right now out of a possible 12 games. And the reason why this endgame is so important and why that connects to the World Championship match is you could have this position against anyone in the entire world, including the 2 people playing for the World Chess Championship right now. And if you know what you're doing, you will win this endgame 100% of the time. That's why these fundamental checkmates are so important. A lot of people like to learn openings, but every move that you make is bringing you closer and closer to an endgame. So if you know these fundamental endgames, you will be a much better player. And the first fundamental checkmate you really need to know is a king and queen versus a king. I teach chess at a lot of different schools, and I see that this is something that the children struggle with. But once I teach them this skill, they feel very proud of themselves. And the exciting thing is it entails just a couple of concrete ideas put together, and once you learn the ideas, it's second nature. You'll be able to win this endgame no matter what. So, as we can see, we're going to assume that we have the king and the queen, and we're playing against someone that has just a lone king. Again, we should be able to win this if we use these concepts. The first concept is called a knight's shadow. As you can see, even though there's not a knight on the board, the queen, the white queen, is a knight's move away from the black king. Meaning, if a knight were sharing the same square as the black king, a knight could move here, a knight can move here, a knight can move here, and a knight could move here. Also, a knight can move here, 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 or here. Okay, so all of those in respect to the king are considered knight shadows. Now, all we have to do is stay on the same side as the king and stay in the knight shadow. So right now, we are in front of the king on the right-hand side, and that's all we need to do is no matter where the king moves, we stay on the front side of the king, on the right side, and we stay in the knight shadow. Now, the same thing would work if we were on the left side of the king in front of the king, or behind the king on the right side, or behind the king on the left side. So it doesn't matter where you start, it just matters that you stay consistent. So for instance, if the king moves straight back, what we wouldn't want to do is move here, okay? Now, yes, we are still in the knight shadow, but we just went from in front of the king to behind the king. And the goal is to win this checkmate, that you have to push the king to a corner of the board. And if you keep switching sides, the black king can just keep going back and forth. And you'll never force the king to the other side of the board. So let's see that in an example. Let's say I move here, he moves here, I move to the knight shadow, he moves back, I move to the knight shadow on the other side, he moves back, I move to the knight shadow. We're not making any progress. So that's why we have to stay on the same side as the king. So if the king moves straight back, what we want to do is move here, in that knight shadow on the same side as the king. Now the tricky move comes if he moves here. Now, we're already in a knight shadow, and we're already on the same side as the king. What do? Well, the good news is there's always two knight shadows on the same side as the king, so we just move to the other one. Okay? The king moves back, we stay in that knight shadow. The king moves back, we stay in that knight shadow. If he tries to trick us by staying in the knight shadow, we just move to the other knight shadow. He moves back, we move back. As you can see, without the help of the king at all, we are driving the opposing king further and further into the corner of the board. He moves back, we stay in the knight shadow. He moves into the corner. Stop! This is where you stop, okay? This is critically important, okay? Because with this overwhelming majority, the thing we don't want to do is we don't want to stalemate our opponent, okay? Stalemate is when your opponent has no legal moves. However, their king is not in any danger. So, we would make a big mistake if we follow the knight shadow in this case. Because now, the king can't move here, because that would be check. The king can't move here, because that would be check. And the king can't move here, because that would be check. But the king is not in check on the square it's on. Then it's a draw, it's a stalemate, and we've messed up because we have an overwhelming majority. So instead, the only time when you do not follow the knight shadow is when the king moves into the corner. Now, the only two squares he can move to are the two highlighted in yellow here. That's the only thing he can do. He can shuffle his king back and forth. That's it. So you leave your queen right there. But how do you checkmate the king? Obviously, if he just shuffles back and forth, we're not making any progress. Well, now is the time when we bring in our own king. Okay? So, we bring in our king. He can shuffle. He can't go to any other squares. We bring in our king again. He shuffles. We bring in our king again. He shuffles. We bring in our king again. He shuffles. And we bring in our king again. And he shuffles. Now, I've noticed that a lot of students struggle with this concept. They get really nervous when their queen is directly next to the opposing king. But as we all know, that as long as the queen's protected, the king can never put himself in check. So we deliver checkmate in one by moving where? And I'll give you guys 10 seconds to figure it out. And you can pause your video if you'd like. So we're moving checkmate in one in this position by moving here. That's checkmate. As we can see, the king cannot take the queen because the kings would be standing next to each other, and we know that's illegal because both kings would be in check, and one cannot put their own king in check. He can't move here because the queen would capture. He can't move here because the queen would capture. He can't move here because the king or the queen would capture, and he can't move here because the queen would capture. We have checkmate. Okay, so I'm going to run through this one more time. Let me back up all the way to the beginning. All right. Now I'll show you that the same concept works no matter where the king is located. So where the queen is located. So let's, for instance, say we want to checkmate using the knight shadow behind and to the right of the king. All right, so let's move our queen here first, and let's say check. Let's say he moves here. Bam, we're in the knight shadow now. Okay, now we're behind the king. The same concept works. As long as we stay on the right side of the king, behind the king, we're going to checkmate the king. So let's say he moves forward. We move here. Let's say he stays in the knight shadow to try to trick us. We move here. Let's say he moves forward. We stay in the knight shadow. Let's say he tries to trick us again by staying in the knight shadow. We go to the other knight shadow. He moves forward. We move forward. He moves forward. We move forward. He moves here. We stay in the other knight shadow. He moves here. We move here. He moves here. We move here. Bam. He's in the corner. So what do we not do? Once the king's in the corner, we do not follow the knight shadow. Because if we did, bam, stalemate. The king is not in check, but he has no legal moves. So we don't do that. That's the only time we don't follow the knight shadow. This is when we bring in our king. He can only shuffle back and forth. We bring in the king. And we checkmate the king. Now, we know this is going to be checkmate because we saw this before. But there is an additional checkmate using this specific structure here. And that's a checkmate here. The king cuts off the 3 squares in the middle here, and the queen cuts off all the rest of the squares in the back, and we have checkmate. So either one will work, checkmate or checkmate. So that covers the fundamental endgame, king and queen versus king. Thank you again to Nancy Charles from Lake Silver Elementary, Gregory Ullman from John Young Elementary, and Javier Ortega from Ventura Elementary School, and thank you to all the rest of the schools in Orange County, Florida, and Central Florida as a whole. Please contact us if you need anything, orlandochessclub@gmail.com, orlandochessclub.net. We are Orlando Chess 64 on Twitter, Orlando Chess Club on Facebook. Please contact us, and remember our website is orlandochessclub.net and not .com, and our email again is orlandochessclub@gmail.com. Thank you very much for tuning in. We love our schools. We support our schools. You guys can always come out to play for free. We meet on Thursday nights from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Full Sail University. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much.